to the regular city council meeting on Tuesday, December 9th, 2024. I'll call the meeting to order. Please rise for the Pledge of Allegiance.
Allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Roll call, Cheryl.
Adam Ryder,
Yes.
Dylan Meyer,
Yes.
Matt Doherty,
Yeah.
J.T. Thompson.
Yes.
All right. Number 4, the approval of the agenda. Any questions or comments on that?
I'll make a motion to approve the agenda. Second.
And roll call.
Matt Doherty.
Yep.
Dylan Meyer,
Yep.
J.T. Thompson,
Yes.
Adam Ryder.
Yes. And I do not see anybody here for citizen public comment. We'll get to you
That's fine.
a little bit later. So we'll move down to number 6, the consent agenda. Any questions or comments on that?
You think I did?
There's no questions or anything? Can I
I'll make a motion to approve the consent agenda.
And second?
Second.
Roll call?
J.T. Thompson,
Yes.
Adam Ryder,
Yes.
Matt Doherty,
Yep.
Dylan Meyer.
Yep.
Right. Number 7, tree board update, grant application approval. So I'll let Cheryl and Marcia talk on that.
Well, I did contact the DNR about that report where I told you that I went around and drove around and they were looking at the numbers and they said those numbers just don't add up to what, someplace it said 156, another place, whatever. So she sent out a young girl that works for the DNR and she met with Cheryl and I and she looked over our grant application and her and I drove the streets together. And pretty much what Gene and I came up with is around 80 trees are gone. What she requested of her boss, once she got back there and reviewed all the information, she said, we usually wait 5 years before we do another survey of a town. But she said, we're gonna put in for Preston to get surveyed this coming summer, this coming year. So they're gonna survey it again, but I mean, that doesn't really help with numbers if the numbers are wrong to begin with. But anyway, Cheryl and I have got the application for the grant all ready to go. It can go in tomorrow. We just want to make sure that this is what you want to do. It is a reimbursement grant, which means we have to pay for it first and then they will pay us. She did say that it's a 2-year grant, but they will pay us after the first year. The trees we plant the first year, when we turn in that bill, they will reimburse us for that. So it's not like we gotta wait 2 years to get $10,000 from the DNR. So that's about where we are. Cheryl needs a letter signed by the mayor to go along with the grant application, so.
So yeah, so tonight we were asking for official approval of that grant. And what the plan is, out of economic development, we have a line item for tree board. We always had put $500 in there. Well, if we do get the grant and may need to amend the first year for planting come spring, so we may need to amend for that. But going forward, we would just put in the revenue for the 10,000 and the expense for 10,000 under that economic development. Start a new line item to track that, so. Like we said, it's reimbursable based on if we get the grant. So if we don't get it, we won't have to do any amendment, we don't have to worry about budgeting, so we'll just.
Well, you do have to budget for trees.
Right.
In your new budget, yeah.
But
Maybe just not so aggressive.
Right, exactly, yeah.
we set those priorities during budget time and see how we are when it comes to that. But
We are applying for 25 trees, not 20. So we plan to plant half of them in this coming spring and then the other half the other spring, so. So, most of them, this coming spring will go into Good Park to replace those that are gone. And then we'll wait and see what she comes up with for West Side, and then the following year, we'll probably plant the rest of them out there. Is the plan. I haven't had a board meeting, so I don't know what they think we should do.
Yeah, I haven't heard from you, so.
No, we haven't had one since I was here last, so.
No, I think planting trees is something we, and it's on my, actually on my list, so. Yeah, I'm.
You had a rough draft of Too Good, didn't you?
Yeah, I gave it to you last time, yeah.
Like along the,
We had 8 trees planned, but I think we'll go ahead and do maybe half of them, 10 to 12, and just get that completely done. And
that open
We'll
green
keep that
space
open
to the
area.
north is gonna
Yeah.
stay open?
yeah, we'll plant some on the north, but they'll be smaller trees.
Okay.
They won't interfere with, when play football or whatever. they're
Gotcha,
at.
yeah,
Yeah,
cause that's
along the road
kind of
there.
a
And then even at West Side, we're gonna stay away from that big open area because it is the new landing space, I guess, for the helicopter. So we'll
Yeah,
make
the
sure,
kids play the football practice up there. it can be
that plus that,
whatever.
yeah,
Yeah, I think it's a
So,
full day, those two areas open.
Yeah.
we'll be sure to plant trees that aren't 100 foot wide, you know, that kind of thing.
Yep,
So,
gotcha.
Yeah. I think there's a lot of space at West Side in
Oh,
particular.
really?
I mean, you could just,
I would like to go on either side all the way around.
right, just make
All
like
the way
a
around,
line
yeah.
of trees
So
that kind of.
there is a lot of room there. I think Tracy said you got, what, 3,000
3,500 in the
donations for trees, so we're just gonna wait it out and see. I mean, there's plenty of places to go with trees, so.
Oh,
You know,
yeah. Oh, thanks for doing all that.
yeah.
Well, yeah. Cheryl helped.
Well, we
Between the
typed it
two
up.
of us, we got it done.
So like I said, and a couple of you were here when I said it, we did, I put an updated full grant application in your packets, so you can kind of review. It shows, this is the citywide, area. And then we're gonna try to plant in both springs, we probably won't do the falls. And the budget proposal, 50% or more of the budget itself had to be for the trees. So with the 25 trees came up to that amount. In the grant, we include product materials of water diapers for the trees, mulch, staking, fences, zip ties, fertilizer. So the total amount came up to just like $400 over the 10,000. So we have that all figured out. We just explained in the grant that the loss of the trees, where we plan to put them, community needs,
Who's gonna volunteer?
volunteers, goals. Try to make it sound as good as, and the gal that was here and met with us, she thought we had a good application.
Yeah.
And
She did.
she kind of went through it with us. She
Kind
said,
of indicated to me, she said, I seen a reason why you can't get a grant, but she's not the one reviewing the application either, so.
So we highlighted the area behind, plastics, or the
We did,
industrial park,
yeah.
in case we have leftovers, cause we've never planted trees there, they're just, probably could use some sprucing up back there if we have leftovers. We included, we just did the whole west side park and, Two Good Park, so.
I think there's leftover trees, I mean, it's only once a tree planted in the
In the,
city right
in
away
the terrace
there.
area, yeah.
Yeah.
Why couldn't we plant one?
And I think after 2 years, I think that's my goal, is to see if we can get some back where they were all taken out of the terrace areas,
Yeah.
yeah.
And before we leave, I'll reprint that, cause I forgot to change Tyler's.
Oh, okay, gotcha.
But we, you know, it's just so many, it's just overwhelming that we just figured we could take care of 25 of them.
Yeah,
Or, you know, and 12 a year, we should be good, so. I didn't wanna plant too many that we, you know.
well, there's a lot of work keeping up on those.
Yeah, so,
And then how many years down the road, all of a sudden you got 25, 30.
I mean, you could get up to $30,000 for this grant, but I just didn't feel that we wanted to tackle that first, with the first grant.
Yeah.
Yeah,
So you need a motion for us, or?
Let's just do it by motion, that way we,
Make a motion to approve the tree board grant application.
I'll second.
And roll call?
Matt Charity,
Yep.
Adam Ryder,
and I didn't tell you, I'm still working on the list of trees that can be planted or recommended trees, and I'm still working on it. I'll get it done by spring.
All right, so number 8, discuss and consider approval of final payment to Eastern Iowa Excavating for the Amos Road project. Anything to say on that, Cheryl?
Well, at the last meeting, we had to re-approve the final walkthrough because there was one little thing that they missed on the final payment. So it kind of started the process over. So this, we, had to, it's just a technicality to make sure we are officially approving the final payment now for the additional $401, $402.50 to be exact, and we'll get that signed and sent to them so we can go ahead and pay the contract payment to Eastern Iowa Concrete in the amount of $24,823.78. And we have held that retainage for the 30 required days. Nothing's come up, so we're gonna go ahead and release those funds.
Questions or comments?
No, well, the project's done. We're good.
Make a motion to approve the final payment to Eastern Iowa Excavating for the Amos Street project.
I'll second.
And roll call?
J.T. Thompson,
Yes.
Dylan Meyer,
Yes.
Adam Ryder,
Yes.
Matt Shardy.
Yes.
Number 9, discuss and consider approval of accidental death and dismemberment insurance for the fire department.
I received a mailing from the Iowa League of Cities, and that was to the contact for the city for that. It's an open enrollment time for their accidental death and dismemberment plan. Actually, so if the policyholder would die and or dismemberment, loses a limb, finger, use of body part, hearing, vision, kind of like what the city has as our supplementals for accident. It's over and above your work comp and your life insurance. The minimum enrollment we could have would be for $250. If we had, I still need a complete updated roster from Landon, which he's working on, but the one he had last year, I included in the packet, showed there may be 1 or 2. So for easy figuring, the single contract per member is $13.30. If we had 25 members, the total cost for this for $20,000 worth of coverage for the single person, total would be $332. And Landon thought he would like to pursue this just because it would maybe be not only an added benefit to the members who are volunteers, you know, they don't have much. Maybe when it came to recruitment too, if they need more firemen, they could possibly use that as a, you know, some kind of little perk that they would offer as well.
I had a couple questions on reading this.
Okay.
So, one question, is this just for firefighters then? Because one part I thought, well, maybe we could throw a couple reserves on there, reserve officers. And the other question I had was, looking at it, if you're on the, you know, fire department rosters move, you know, change all the time with people on there or not on there. How does that get determined if you have a firefighter that's not active, and he's still on, you know, I think for a little bit of money, we should do seen like, well, some of them firemen probably never been to a fire, right?
Well, that, yeah.
I mean, I don't care they all get lumped in, but it's like,
Well, do we need to lump it in, or is this for the active guys? I mean, from my understanding, you don't just open up the whole roster and do that, or can you,
well, it looks like $250 is the minimum payment anyways,
Right.
no matter.
Right,
Yeah.
at
And-
$15 a pop, right?
1330, yeah.
Yeah, so you gotta pay 250 anyways.
Those are probably questions for True North on the management part of it. So once, say he enrolls the current roster of 25 members, the first start,
Yeah, when can someone get off and on, or how does that
I
work?
think it just, the open enrollment part is, December 31, so you'd be covered for that
For that?
year. And then you would start the process again December of next year for any changes. I did take a look, I went online to from the, link that they had on in here for the actual enrollment application, and, it asks you if it's a renewal or an enrollment, so I think you would just manage it, just like we do. And if we have people come on board during, that's a question, if we can add them
Could you add them right away?
right
is
away,
that
or if
first
they have to
step?
wait till the open enrollment, that's one question, but, yeah, those details are for, I didn't call any.
But I think for the little bit of money. I think
$250 covers 18,
I
19.
say you might as well max it out.
Yeah, you might as well
Yeah.
max it.
Yeah.
Yeah,
If you're
that's
gonna pay
what-
$250 no matter what, you might as
Now,
well.
are we gonna ask the
Then
numbers to
next
cover
year,
that remaining
You actually
balance?
you get extra amount of people to get it up to 250 versus only putting the whatever 210 that it said or whatever it was.
And Landon will use this year's budget and make sure those, he doesn't, go over the budget. He'll just know that these is extra money that wasn't actually technically on a line item budgeted
Yeah.
for, but he still will go over overall, so he'll stay within his budget.
Budget, okay.
Then are we gonna, so 1330 is covered by the city, so then that extra 570 would be covered by,
I would say if, what do you mean 570?
at the bottom it says, single premium paid by the city, 1330, 570 for dependent coverage can be paid by either the city or the enrolled member.
Oh, because, yeah, if you go to
Well, it
members,
depends.
spouse, it's an additional, that is a decision that, cause those are optional. What we do as the city,
Oh, I see, that's employee and spouse, okay, so
Yeah.
this would just be single coverage.
This is
There's no
just-
reason
We
to
would
go
pay the
above
single,
that.
and if they
I
wanted to
see.
do more, they could.
if they wanted to do more, they would have to let
I see,
whoever does the enrollment process, and then they would have to pay for that difference.
makes sense, okay,
Cause that's
got
what
it.
the city does for our accidental death and stuff. Even for our life insurance, for life insurance we pay, but,
Yeah, I
it's
misread that,
on our own.
I thought we were gonna be asking our guys to come up with $5 extra just to get in on it, I thought that
No,
was a
no.
little,
No. If they want the family.
gotcha, okay, makes sense.
Any questions on this?
So is this just to move on to the next step, to have a meeting with this guy at the station? Or what's?
Or is this something that we just kick back to Landon, like,
Yeah,
the
Landon said he
council's
would-
okay with it, you guys?
Councils, I wanted to go ahead, just keep you guys informed of what, I didn't want somebody coming to you from a fireman saying, oh, we got accidental death, it's like, just wanted to give you what, the sponsored program is through the Iowa League of Cities, and at a small fee per year, it's available to the fire department, so, Landon would have to go in and do the enrollment on the website, and, at that time, and it's only open till December 31st, so that's something he has to act on fairly quickly, so he get invoiced before that, end of December. And then I guess he would have to reach out to the rest of the members and see if they wanted to add the spouse and or family portion of it.
So I'm assuming then the policy would take effect January first then,
Mhm.
like the calendar year.
Calendar year.
I'm good with it, just sounds like the fire department's gonna have to do all the work on it, so.
Yeah, I think it's, like you said, I mean, it's a nice little, benefit for a relatively
They're
low cost.
volunteering their time. For volunteering time, I think we can only up $250.
Any other questions or comments?
So do we need an actual motion, or are you just gonna tell Landon we're good with it, or?
I did put, consider approval, so yeah, motion would be one for that.
Make a motion to approve the accidental death and dismemberment insurance for the fire department.
I'll second.
And roll call?
Dylan Meyer,
Yes.
Matt Peterson,
Abstain, so that wasn't here for the conversation, really.
Yes.
J.C. Thompson,
Yes.
Adam Ryder,
Yes.
Matt Charity.
Yes.
All right, number 10, resolution 2024-15, approval for designating Jason Gertz to the Waste Authority of Jackson County Board.
Couldn't find anybody, huh?
Yeah, well, I had put on Facebook, we didn't get any volunteers, and, I asked Jason if he'd be willing to at least make that phone call once, and if time allows, he can go up and in person. That way he, as the sanitation superintendent, does hear it firsthand, and we're not relying on somebody else reporting back. Even though 99% of the time those meetings are non-controversial, no big changes, but at least you're represented by somebody that's
Oh, I think it's a good idea.
willing to serve, yeah, he was willing to do it, so.
So was he voluntold, or was he?
It didn't take much begging, let's just say
Yeah.
that.
Good question.
Yeah, yeah.
I guess once we prove this.
Right.
No, he was good with it. He was-
Okay.
All right.
If he's good, then I'm good.
Okay.
Any other discussion on that? Not gonna get a motion for approval.
Make a motion to approve resolution 2024-15, appointing Jason Gertz to the Jackson County Waste Authority.
Second.
Roll call?
Matt Charity,
Yeah.
J.C. Thompson,
Yes.
Matt Peterson,
Yes.
Dylan Meyer,
Yep.
Adam Ryder.
Yes. All right, number 11, goal setting, discuss and review our lists from the council and the city staff.
I got my glasses. We're gonna get trouble not having homework done. Then the mayor didn't show up. How do you wanna start this, Cheryl?
That's what I was wondering. I'm not Pat Callahan, but, what I did was kind of thought I would jot down, everyone kind of wants to take a turn, going through their goals, I'll jot them down, we can see how many multiples we have the same, and maybe make some notes on what we need to complete, and then next meeting, we can compile those and maybe prioritize and that kind of thing, if that sounds like a plan.
Plan to me.
Any volunteers to start?
Go ahead, Bill.
Aye, you want me to go first? I'm brand new at this.
That's why I threw it.
Throw you in the fire.
I mean, I'll go, but I'm just saying, I don't know if this is.
No, I can go.
So I don't really know if I'd rank them in order, but I put 5 things down. At the top, I put the the sidewalk curb and gutter here on Gillette Street. I know that that has been brought to my attention, a couple times in the past, and I think with that being, you know, kind of one of our premier streets, I do know that probably use some attention. Also, I put on there like the sidewalks for School Street up to West Side Park. You know, I think that could be a little bit of a hazard for the kids that walk to religion class, you know, on Wednesday nights.
Hang on a second.
Okay, maybe I should look.
Okay.
Another thing I put on there was for like, supplying garbage bins for recycling to residents. I know like.
I like that idea.
The city of Miles, I know that they just switched their providers and now they have a bin for recycling, and I know that if I had one, I think that it would allow me to recycle more than I do. And I think it'd be easier on the city workers as well, because I know talking like with Jesse Kilberg, they hook right up just like our garbage cans, so less lifting and all that stuff for the garbage folks or recycling folks there. And then I put curb and gutter on older streets. You know, I think the Amos Street, project went fairly well. I think we should keep moving along those lines. And then I just kind of put on there campground for the industrial park. I don't know, I thought that was kind of a neat idea. Figured I'd at least throw it up there. I think it'd be something, I mean, I think of like the campground in Charlotte. You know, I think when I first heard that was happening as well, shoot, I don't think that'll ever get used. Man, you drive through Charlotte in the summer and it's full every weekend, so I'm like, hey, there's opportunity on there, I figured I'd throw it on the list.
Yeah, there's spots down there.
Yeah, I was like, well, I'm at least have a conversation about it. Maybe I don't know what puts it on there, but I thought it was an interesting idea. It's the first I'd heard about it, so.
Guess we'll go in order.
Let's go next, JT.
Yeah, I might as well just go down.
Yep.
Whenever Cheryl was ready.
All right.
These aren't really in order, but maybe this one is. One I had was the stormwater problem at the intersection of, is it Warren and Davis Street by Ron and Isabel. House down there. I think that needs to be addressed, that water issue. And then any other small stormwater projects, you know, that we need to fix or take care of. Assuming the city guys have a list of that, but we've been talking about that water issue down there. I think we need to get after it. Number 2 on my list was, I still like to focus on the property maintenance stuff. I think we, you know, the grass, the weed, the junks, vehicles, rundown houses, you know, if we gotta, make sure our ordinances, or what's the long-term plan. I'd like to have more discussion and not really put all that on the police department, but I think we need to focus. One of my goals, I think we need to keep on it, but focus on the property maintenance stuff in town. This is kind of the same thing that, curb and gutter streets at Merle, DeGrove, Farley, all that, the older section. I think since the project we just did, I think we need to, I think that should be our next kind of street project, kind of tying all that in, that older stuff there. Now, I know we need a lot of money, so that might have to wait a little bit, but that's something I'd like to focus on.
We can talk about how we can break it up and do things, what makes sense to try to.
Yeah, you know, so I can get over there after we did, you know, by your house and then that. I think we just gotta keep.
Doing the phases, yeah.
Yeah, you keep adding on to that or whatever we need to do, right? So. That kind of idea you had, though?
Yeah, basically, I mean, I figured we'd rely pretty hard on, you know, Mark or whatever. It's like, what would make the most sense for the next step?
Yeah.
You know, do
Maybe
we go
when-
on the next street to the, you know, to the west, or do we go, now we start moving to the streets that go east-west, or, you know,
Well,
whatever,
when we
just keep.
chose our project for this year, and we had also had options. So I think that whole, preliminary for the narrow street has been done by Origin, so that may be a little cost savings.
Okay, yeah, that's something I'd like to, you know, look into. planting the tree program, we just kinda talked about that. The removal, plant trees, trimming trees, I think that's probably really important. We need to really start on and keep going. Number 5, I had signs, and what I mean about signs is, you know, some nice signs coming in town saying this is Preston, but also signs like, we need, in our town's not real bad, but some new street signs, some faded signs that need to replace. Maybe signs that point to where a business is at, or where the downtown's at. Just, I think we could, city guys could work on that, or, you know, I think we need just better signage. I have a couple more, is that
No, you used your
5?
I left one extra hole.
Okay.
Yeah, you get a bonus,
I
Mary.
got
more
the
than
new-
5 too, so.
Yeah, I know, I kinda like
Narrow it down.
I'll go with my extras at the end.
We could add a.
Is it the new chairs for the council chambers that go on? Or, I think one thing we need to put on the list, this is long-term, but a lot of the firemen I talk about, they're really talking about a new fire station.
That was mine. See, this is what happens when you go over your 5.
Yes.
You start stealing ideas.
So, I just think the conversation needs to be started. If they're talking about it, then I think we just need to, you know, put that in the vision, see what's, and I'm like, fire station with police department, with ambulance, big enough for a training area, just, I don't know, but I'd like to at least put possible new fire station on the list down the line.
It's like Tetris, putting everything in there, right?
Right, pack it all in there. But I know they've been talking about it, and they haven't really talked to any of us about it, I don't think, so.
I know it was brought up before, I don't know if it was during that last goal setting, but yeah, it's been a while since it's
Yep.
been brought up.
Brought up when that McNeil property was purchased, that would have been a potential area.
Yeah. So, well, I'll keep it to
So we
6.
probably replaced the retirement home, fire station there.
All right.
Frost came out the second time this year.
You're up, Adam. I don't wanna, I didn't wanna use my
Stop
last,
yours are on the side for right now, but I will get it in and at it over there.
you, chairs council, okay?
All right, so my list, I also had, redoing the streets and sidewalks on Gillette Street downtown. I agree with Dylan, I think, you know, as we're, you know, trying to revitalize the downtown, I mean, obviously, everybody knows that the streets and sidewalks are in need of a lot of work, so, definitely I think that would be a good project to look at. And then also, a tree, planting, like incentive program, I was kind of thinking, you know, once we, you know, hopefully we get this grant that, we talked about earlier, you know, kind of looking beyond that, you know, is there a way that we can come up with some sort of program where we can, you know, subsidize or, you know, incentivize in some way planting more trees to get our numbers back up where they need to be. And I also had, a pathway to West Side Park. I didn't necessarily do like on School Street, but I think for maximum benefit, that's probably the best place. I know when we did the study a couple of years ago, the plan that they offered, I mean, it wasn't ideal, you know, where they were kind of some of the options that they threw out, so, I don't know. I think it definitely, with all the time and investment that's gone in the west side, there needs to be a safe pathway some way over there. You know, a connected sidewalk that connects to the rest of the city. And then other than that, I also had, you know, there's obviously several road projects, but I had Merrill Street, you know, kind of doing the same thing we did with Amos. Like we said, obviously a very large financial commitment, so, you know, probably be something to maybe look at in a phased approach. And, I had the equipment on here, but I just kind of left it ambiguous. I didn't know think we're kind of having those discussions now, you know, as we look at what our true needs are. So I think, you know, I guess just developing some sort of a plan that we're sustaining and, you know, we're reviewing, you know, maybe a couple times a year to replace that equipment, so then we can hopefully avoid some of these surprise expenses that come up and try to be more proactive. But that's the top 5 that I had. I got a much bigger list, but we'll just keep it at that.
Lot of continuity so far.
Mm-hmm.
Are you ready?
I did.
Fire station, number 1 on my list.
Are you gonna say snacks for council?
That's
Yes.
number 2.
I got the chairs over there, you
Snack
guys
for
put
the
the
snacks. I mean, a location that's, I think would be great, is right next to the station. Big open lot, I don't know what that looks like, if they'd be interested in selling at some point, but where the creamery is at, I mean, that's, it would be great. Number 2, and I don't know a lot about this, but don't we have like school bus pickups spots, or is it just Peppermint Park, or is there other pickups in town?
Peppermint, Too Good always used to be one.
I know Peppermint is, what else is it? I'm not sure.
I know
I feel
Peppermint
like there's
is.
one down by the treasure trove.
Do we
Is there?
have like a way that we could put up like a bus stop booth? Like these kids, if it's shitty outside, rain and windy, whatever, like at Peppermint Park, did they have that gazebo thing they can maybe hang out underneath there? Now there's nothing.
Did I bring that up here, or was that in a school when we brought it up? Just like the city, like you go to like, on that, like, you know, a bigger city or whatever, they just got them like 3-sided little,
We
Yeah.
talked about it when we
Yep.
put the park up.
yeah.
When we did that, we talked about, that was one of the big conversations, was to get a school, a stop.
Yeah.
It's like in a city, yeah.
Yeah, exactly.
3 sides or 3.5 sides. and
Yeah, 3.5
Just
sides.
get out of the way.
glass, so you can see through it,
Yes.
we're doing, but kids have to get out of the rain and weather, because there's a
Yeah.
lot of kids, you know, I can speak from Peppermint Park for my kids to get on, but, a lot of kids are down there pretty early, you know, they, when their parents leave, or they, whatever, so they're down there,
Yeah.
you know, 30, 20 minutes ahead of time, it's pretty cold and
How many-
nasty out sometimes.
How many kids get picked up down there? 10, 15?
Oh,
What's that
I would say
thing?
15.
Yeah.
Gonna need a big booth,
Yeah,
Yeah.
bigger booth.
yeah, and I actually looked online, there's such a wide variety of
Yeah.
what you can do, but, yeah, so whether, I mean, I think we brought up to Dylan down there, since the school and the city could kind of go together on something,
Well,
that
absolutely.
might help
Mhm.
everybody out.
That's a good idea, I just, I
Yeah.
don't have little kids, I just forget about that.
And there may be potential grants for combined, you know, parking and school.
Yeah, I think that'd be great, because there's a lot of kids just, you know, they're not dressed for the conditions that they're out in, and
So that's number 2 for me. Industrial loop, I'll call it, paving some of the roads down there, we got lots of water issues down by Bernie's area. Be nice to solve that, but I don't think we're gonna jump on that until McNeil's is done, if I remember right, but I'd like to keep it on the list.
Yeah, that's why I put it on the list, I thought it was kind of a bigger project.
It's definitely a big project, which actually kind of ties into the church ditch. If you're gonna, 'cause I think it starts there and then winds down, is that West Road?
West Street.
West Street, yeah.
I know storm sewer, when we talked about it pending more development at the McNeil property. The storm sewer that is going through there would eventually extend to Copper Creek
Yeah,
and
right now,
maybe
Copper Creek's-
alleviate some of that too, but, you know, curb and gutter would be.
you could, storm sewer could be done ahead of time, you know, storm sewer could be done anytime, you know, curb and gutter could wait.
Well, and we have, there's drainage there, but I don't know, it just doesn't keep up, or,
Or else it needs to be done.
yeah. Gillette Street, curbs that are falling away.
I'll just add, I know, I was sharing with what was still on the list and what was on the list before, going over it with Eric a little bit, and And he never did. I'm like, why? He's like, well, you gotta do the curb and gutter, you have to do the street too.
You can't, one has to go with
Right.
the other.
Yeah.
And it's just a huge, he just feels, we all know it's a huge project, I mean, and just where it
But as
falls
quick
in.
as quick as that one went, I felt that was maybe a little bit more in depth than what this
But
would
I
be.
think this would have to include, new sewer as well.
Oh, I retract what I just said then.
Yeah.
So it is just a lot more involved and we haven't had it engineered look at it yet to see, but just, yeah, it's definitely a need. Just how far and then we can afford it.
Could be the price tag is the,
That's what I got. Oh, office chairs. You can put office chairs. That's all I got.
Might as well throw tables too.
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah, there you go.
They got the big city, so it's like a judge chamber or something right here.
we talked about that.
Elevated.
We did.
I kind of bundled to get the most bang for my buck here, but, I've got sidewalks and, I put, you know, on the west side, safe place to get the West Side Park, the Catholic Church, the school, and the new subdivision. So kind of, a lot of it was that way, but we, you know, we keep adding to our park and, you know, subdivisions out that way, the Catholic Church, and there's just no safe place to walk, especially you get this time of year when it's dark, as late as it is and early as it is, it's really hard to see. And then I'm just surprised, walking around, how many sidewalks aren't finished. You'll come on a block and you'll be walking, you can go by, you know, west side stuff, or you can go anywhere in town, and the sidewalk just ends in halfway through a residence. So to finish those off the rest of the way, I mean, because we're trying to, go back to public safety and stuff, and like we've done on Amos, try to get people off the streets, and it's shocking to me how many sidewalks just stop.
There's a lot of them.
Absolutely.
Yeah, so I put sidewalks in general, I like to have just a big sidewalk program, and we go out and decide what's the best, safest way to get to the west side, what's the best way to do that, what can we chip away at, and how do you do it as far as finishing the block? You know, just finishing it up so you can have safe access, otherwise people are going out on the street and then coming back, you know, off on the sidewalk.
Or they just stay on the street after you
They
get
just
off.
stay on the street, yeah, exactly. If we wanna get people on the sidewalks, we need to finish the sidewalks, so, that was my number one. I think that's just for public safety, and I think that's really important. I put storm sewer in front of the Catholic Church, and then, you know, down West Street, all the way through in front of Bernie's. I think you could, so West Street, you know, and going down, in front of Bernie's to Copper Creek, that's kind of all one project anyway. I know we talked about holding off on curb and gutter until that gets developed out there, which I still think we should. But I think to have development going, you're almost gonna fit the storm sewer into. You
So
know,
they have a height to go to.
Have drainage and things like that, so people know how to, you know, if you put a street in or you're building the elderly, you know, residents there, water's gonna have to go somewhere. So that's gonna have to be part of it. But then, if you have a project like that going, to throw the Catholic Church right on with it, would be pretty minuscule at the point that you can just, you know, it'd be cheaper to do it if you added on to a big project. But, you know, when that's dug out like that, and again, you have, and it's dark like this, and kids are walking, or people are pulling out of west side, it's narrow there. And then you could get a sidewalk in, you could do all those things, so. Then my number 3 is funding to tear down dilapidated buildings and property maintenance, like, you know, we were talking, everybody else is talking about too. And what can we do as a city to help with that? Again, we can't be the go-to that, well, the city will just take care of it if it's in bad shape. But what can we do to help get rid of some of this stuff, or improve and take advantage of when something comes up for sale and it's the right thing to do, would we buy it and just get it down and get that property for sale instead of coming after the fact and have that available. Elderly housing, and it's kind of twofold. You know, if we can get the elderly housing going, I mean, the interest that you hear people talk about, or looking for something like that, you know, what then again that would do for, if you get some elderly people to move into a place like that, the homes will freeze up again for, you know, people want to start families and stuff like that can come out and afford a house and can't necessarily afford to build one, but it just, south that way, so I think it would bring, not only would it help our elderly out to get somewhere where they can be more self-sufficient as they age, but open up used homes for people.
Yeah, I think that's.
Yeah, I feel like that's huge, because like even like some of the elderly people today that are moving to Bellevue or wherever, McCogan or wherever, it's like, you know, that's.
Exactly.
My neighbor said if
I've
that
heard a
place
lot of
was
people
built,
say that.
she would be there.
It'd be filled up.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Which would open up more houses for affordable,
Yeah, yeah, I think it's huge, I mean, to get that going, and so whether, you know, it is, the contractor's talking about is gonna do it, is or if not, let's, you know, shit or get off the pot, let's see what we can do, so.
Are you thinking like the city building?
I'm not saying that necessarily, you know, but, maybe the city could be part of it, but I think we've got a great community that I bet you would be surprised when you could get a collective of people put together to form, you know, whether it's a corporation or something to maybe build it and get it going and, you know, manage it. I think you'd be surprised how our community would pull together to, get some investors into something like that. You know, I mean, it's pretty hard probably in Preston, Iowa to have, you know, one person maybe just come in and do it. Maybe that's why we're struggling getting it going now. But if you could get a handful of people or a group of people to, make an investment group on it, I bet you'd be surprised. So I think that's huge. Like I said, it opens up quite a few doors, I think, for us. The southeast part of town, like we've been talking, in downtown, I lumped them together. I think they're both important to do. You know, upgrades on infrastructure, water, sewer, storm sewer, curb and gutter, that whole thing we've been talking about. As much as I like to do the downtown, I think it needs done too, but I always go back to look at the years and amount of taxes people pay down there not to be able to have those things. So I think it's important to keep focusing, what can we do to, again, if they're both huge jobs, what can we do, work with Mark to chip away at it just a little bit at a time and keep moving forward on it. I've got a number 6 too, Cheryl, but I just put a list of other equipment, like, you know, it got brought up. We know we need to upgrade some of the equipment, squad car, you know, Chad's brought up in the squad car, so what can we do for squad car equipment? I think we need to prioritize that list, you know, really know what we need to do, we're working on that, and make sure we're always having that plan, you know, can it be, is it every year we can ship something off, every other year, what can we do to keep shipping away, so we aren't caught, we aren't blindsided, we're trying to be proactive as much as we can, and be educated on it when those come in front of us. This isn't to put down, but when I was going through on the last page, you know, the programs, top priority programs and policies, you know, and I was part of this when we put it together, but I look at some of these policies and stuff, let's say, start a policy for the plant generators, you know, reviews on water, sewer, electric, you know, mapping of utilities, things like that. To me, you know, it's something we should just work on. You know, it doesn't necessarily, to me, it doesn't need to be correlated with this. We should, who's ever in charge of some of that stuff, those departments, that's something we should assign and start working on and work with their committees to do that. I think we should put that back on us a little bit too. We're on a committee on some of those things, and I'll throw myself in front of the bus on electric. That's something the electric committee should work with Ray on, and we should start getting that done. I don't think that needs to be a special plan. You know, if we want to write a startup policy for those generators, we should do it.
Yep.
That's what I got, Cheryl.
All right, good discussion. So is there anything else you wanted to add to that, or I guess what do we think the next steps are? Is this something we want to continue? I know Tyler couldn't make it tonight.
Right. The guys haven't had, well, since, I don't know, we didn't really sit down as a team as far as city staff, but a couple of mine that I had written down prior to was, of course, sidewalks or curb and gutter at Gillette Street. That was kind of before I talked to Eric, but I still think it should be maybe in the 5 to 10 year plan, you know. But I agree with Matt, the property owners you know, they need, and the industrial park, I would say they may come first at some level. And I want to figure out how to sell lots of Harvest Heights. Are we going
Is
to
that on list?
figure out how to maybe incentivize people, you know, like, I know we did away with the downtown, the first home, down payment assistance program,
First time homeowners.
first time homeowner kind of thing. And possibly use TIF funds for that, cause that is in our urban renewal area. Maybe, I don't know, say incentivize them, okay, they're $30,000, but if you build the first year, it'll drop it down to 25. You build it in the second year, it'll drop down, you know, something like that. Get them built, you know, not just bought and sitting there vacant. We definitely are in need for office computers. The PCs we have were through a grant that we received probably 5 years ago. And with Windows 10 being unsupported soon, we're gonna need computers. And our copy machine, we just kind of keep, not really nickel and diming it, but keeping it, it's old, it's on its last leg as well. So
They don't
those-
make the toner for it anymore.
Well, yeah.
We bought the last 3.
Yeah, they don't-
Probably something like budget time to kind of just probably plan on replacing that.
You got good stuff in
Right,
there.
kind of essential.
That's not even a no-brainer, right?
And I put down continued sidewalk replacement needs. We've been at some trainings that and it's through the legislative, it may put a liability on the city for even sidewalks that are in front of people's residence. We may need to put together a, program where we send out letters to people and say, you know, just so make them aware of it. Otherwise, if we don't let the ones know that their sidewalks need repair, it could come back on the city if someone got hurt.
So we just need to let them be aware of it, but we
They
don't
need
need
a
to
letter,
enforce it.
I think it said,
We
like,
need to make sure they're notified.
in so many days to fix it, I think they said, and then
Yeah,
if we can prove we sent that off, then.
I see.
it would alleviate us from the liability of it,
Yeah.
but, and we just do need to continue a sidewalk replacement program too. So those letters are sent to the people that have sidewalks, at least they have some funding source where they can get help for, you know, the sidewalks. Whether we'll talk more about how much to budget for that at budget time, but those were some of the things on my list, so
What'd you have, Tracy?
Same list as her.
we can get together together. Yeah,
Definitely the new copy machine printer.
I don't know if that needs to be on the list, that's just,
Needs to
this
be
is,
done.
Like you
Yeah.
didn't do
That's
it.
Equipment that needs to be replaced.
yeah, we've got some quotes, and I think, going by leasing, you're not gonna have to do any amendments, you know, lease it. They keep, it includes the toner, the maintenance agreement, everything's all in one happy
they
package.
just
and
mail it to you. It's all
It's
right.
not yours, you're stuck with the
It's
limit in 10
crazy.
years and you gotta start all over, so. It keeps everything up to date as should be, and I would recommend that with the way we built Pearl.
Yeah, that's definitely the way to go, just, you know, when you're getting something, make sure that, I mean, I'm sure they know kind of your copy count. Just, that's one thing that I found over time, is like if you go beyond what the unit's rated for, then they'll ding you for that.
So all the city employees will do the same thing and then we'll put it all together, is that the plan?
Yeah, I'll kind of make notes and maybe, try to map it out somehow.
Chad, make sure you do it too, please.
Alright, done.
Have you? What you got?
Yep.
Well, most of my stuff can be achieved through the budget. I just have like a goal-setting plan, a short term within 2 years. And then I have a 2 to 5 year. And a lot of it's like Cheryl and Tracy said, it's just replacing technology that has to be, you know, you get out beyond 5 years on things and it's, you know. I guess my department goal within 2 years is to obtain our state accreditation, which we're currently working on, which is a monstrous task for one person to do.
Second that.
Creating an informational website. I wanna have a www website. And that's, I think through our domain, like DC3, is that, I'd like to have some type of spin-off of the city page. And that's just kind of an idea, and I wouldn't think that that would be all that much to do, more stuff, you know. I need to replace the computer in my office because like Cheryl said, I'm on 10, I believe, as well. Replacing the 2015 Ford Explorer. We're having some issues with that, even beyond since we've talked last. We're kind of waiting to see if a couple of fixes will take care of it, but one is a leak, catalytic converter leak. It's starting to get fumey in there. And we've got one expense was like $2,000 to fix that. So we're kind of, I don't want my guys getting lightheaded and gassed out, you know. So I mean, we're looking at that. We're working on that. So some of the other stuff is, you know, I'd like to explore the idea. And this by no means is explore the idea of adding a third full-time position. You know, down the road, maybe. Just looking at calls for service have obviously increased. The amount of things that we have going on, I always feel like I need to be here, and I need to be there, and I need to be there, and there's other things to do. And I think the amount of calls for service in the comparison to other communities our size, we are one short. You look at Marmac, which is smaller than us, they're at 3. And Dysart, Iowa, which is the same size as us, is at 3. So I'd just like to at least get numbers and take a look at it, and actually balance that with the amount of calls for service we have. Because if the work's not there, then, you know, there's no need. But basically another radar, and I can do that through our GTSB grant. And then my 2 to 5 year is basically just a more replacing, updating computer in the Durango. You know, that would be about 6.5 years on that, and that's, you know, kind of, maybe we can go one more on it. Replacing and updating our patrol and body cameras. It's a great system. I'm just worried about how long it's gonna be able to be supported, and I really like it. It's the best one I've ever used. I just hope that, you know, and within 5 years, it's still gonna be able to do what we need to do with it, just based on age. Because Scott Heyer got those, so that's how old they are. Probably at least, what, 6 years?
I'd say so, Scott got him.
Yeah, 5 or 6.
6 or 7.
And then updating our overall server. So that's kind of what I've had a few more thoughts in there, but a lot of it can be done within the budget, so it's more internalized than coming to you guys and say, hey, we need to do this, and I need money. So it's more internalized, and I think that we can achieve a lot of this through just our budget. Obviously, a car is not probably gonna be, unless we put that in, you know. Capital improvement plan fund.
Yeah, the fire department wants those too. I just am worried how our property tax dollars are gonna come in, and how we can set aside $5,000 to $10,000 a year from the general fund when we're not, and we'd have to make cuts somewhere, because I just like to see where we stand with that, and hopefully know soon when the county numbers come in and start the budget process. But I think putting both for the fire department, PD, capital improvement,
far as your fire station, if you were to ever build, I might be way down, I'd be in the elderly housing that you guys are talking about, but, I like being connected to City Hall. I would like to, a different office, obviously, a different lobby at least, and another entrance exit out of there. But for the most part, I like being connected to City Hall. You know, I can see what's going on with girls, if they have any issues, it's just easy to walk things up, and, you know, the mountain we converse back and forth would be, it's convenient. Would I say no to a new building? Pretty hard, maybe the next guy will be on board with it, but, it's not a need for me, you know? So, you know, if you're looking at costs and you were adding that in or figuring that in, I think that would be something that you could take off and we'd be fine.
Cause we do work closely together, I mean, on a daily basis, they check in with us.
Yeah. I mean, the overall complex, I think, was a great idea. The way that built, the police side was sectioned off probably wasn't the best, but we're fortunate to have what we have for, you know, a small town, so.
Better than when you started out in?
The chicken coop? That gives me nightmares still. Basement and that. So that's kind of what I have now. I think it's too off the wall anyway, maybe.
Perfect, thank you.
You know, between now and the next meeting, we'll get some more city staff involvement and try to figure out how, based on how their group last one together, and like you said, knopping some of those things out with the budget, and maybe try to, I don't know, if anybody has any suggestions or wants to run with it, don't be afraid to volunteer.
Well, that's what, you know, just listening to everybody talk, you know, I think we could almost split it into different ways, big projects like we're talking, and budget items. I think it's almost two separate things we going on here, 'cause I think a lot of those things, like you said, that you three have brought up, hopefully we can just click away at the budget and get a lot of those, you know, big capital projects like we're talking.
Yeah, I agree with that, some of that's just budget
Yeah,
stuff.
so it's nice to hear that, you know, maybe we can tackle a lot of things, because we can kind of separate it that way. And it's good to hear those things ahead of time, you know, that we're not, it's nice to know,
Yeah, I'd like to.
in advance to know what everybody's thinking.
Right. So that you don't have 5 unexpected
Yeah.
things you gotta replace
Boom, boom,
throughout the
boom.
year. I mean, there's always gonna be things that come up, but
Yeah.
you can minimize that.
And I know Chad, I got the squad car, he met with us, you know, a few months ago, and we gave some pushback because we wanted to try to push that off, but we also have to remember, where every time I hear him say it's a 2015, and we're going on 2025,
Right.
I mean, we're asking a lot, so keep that in mind. It puts it in perspective for me.
Yeah. I think it would be good to know what each, you know, like police and, you know, what the city guys need, what you need in the office, and then be able to take those lists and then kind of prioritize overall what's, yeah, what is the most need.
For sure. We just need a casino in the area now, don't we?
Generate some revenue.
Or Matt just needs to win a lot of money at the
Well,
casino.
I would share it if I did, no problem, for sure.
They're right next to the senior housing, I bet they love that.
Well, there's an idea, just one building.
Yeah.
Right. Connected.
Thanks everybody for doing their homework, it's awesome, so at least we got a good start talking points and place to move forward with.
I think it's great to do this and to stay on top of this, because then we can be planning for the future. We can get whatever, however we decide we want it, whether it's top 5 or top 3 or top 1, what's our plan to
Right.
move forward as a group? What's our focus?
Yeah. Yeah, it's just kind of good to get, you know, get the pulse on everybody, you know,
Yeah.
what they think is the biggest needs.
And I think it helps, I think it's, I guess speak up, Dylan, but it helps, I think, as you get new, you know, council members on, that there is a little plan for the future. Not that it won't change as council keeps adding, but at least you've got something to move on to. You know, when I first started, it's like, where are we at? You know, it's nice to have
Right.
some forward thinking.
I agree, I mean, I feel like when I came in, like, the industry thing was already well on its way and stuff, so it was like, I'm just kinda playing catch up on this, like, all right, yeah, sounds good, whatever, like, you guys are way ahead of this, so it's kinda nice to, now be on the first part of like, okay, what's our focus gonna be? And I did kind of actually enjoy this, like, being able to look back through, like, okay, so this has been talked about.
A lot of stuff has been done, a whole
Yeah.
list. A lot of
You
it.
look at some of this and what's
Right.
been shipped off.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, I was
It's kinda nice to
impressed
look
with
at.
the
Yeah.
notes where all those notes were made and what has been done and how far, from the last one, so, yeah.
How often do we plan on doing like this? Is this like a yearly thing?
Well, since we're not reinventing the wheel, like someone mentioned before, yeah, I think yearly, see where we came in that year, add a couple more things, just keep.
Yearly goals.
I think this is a good time of year to do it right before budget season.
Mhm.
It's good to reflect on what we've done
Yeah.
and
Right.
how it went.
You know,
Yeah, well, we've learned from and what we
Yeah.
can do different.
So what's our next step with this? Like, next meeting, we're gonna re-go over it?
I'll
and-
try to compile priorities versus budgetary, get the input from, the guys and
Yeah,
See
I
what-
like-
Your group to like things together and we can kind of say,
kind of
here's,
see where everyone's, what duplicate priorities you've already got, maybe those could, and just determine what in line, and we don't have to prioritize them to the penny, to the exact, you just, okay, whatever options or opportunities present itself, maybe we can tackle this one.
it might just come down to funding too.
Yeah.
right.
Definitely.
But it would be nice.
That's always
to
gonna
work-
be the biggest hurdle.
Exactly.
It would be nice to work on a couple of those once we get the list.
Yeah.
Realistic focuses within the year and something that have, we'll put our heads together and see if we can compile something.
Alright, thanks everyone.
What do we got in those?
Probably good on that for now then?
Yeah, I
Okay.
think so.
Sounds good. So we'll move on to other business. We've got a update on streetlights on West Street.
We talked briefly about it at the last meeting, since there's been no further development of the area except on the east side. Do we wanna start a street light somewhere to get the, get some light out there at least? Ray did look at the option, but besides Dave Jargo's corner, there is a pole, maybe just a few yards down, kind of by Pershing's. But the pole's already there, he wouldn't have to interrupt any other services. He can put it up tomorrow if that's the way we wanna go, and he's like, yeah, it'd be a starting point and then, see how that does, and if we need to put another one a little further down. And it would still have to be on the east side for now, cause
Yes.
Makes sense
That's
all
a-
over. If we got a pole there and it's gonna actually work correctly, that makes sense. to
Might as
do
well
it.
use it, right?
Yeah.
Put it on.
It's the
Yeah.
last pole going north on the east side where they were talking. But then I think, like I said in the last meeting, I think that gives a street light down there, and then it also kind of lights up. It's on the opposite side of the street, but it kind of lights up that entrance for West Side Park too, so I think
Oh.
that's kind of
Yeah.
multiple benefits there.
If Ray could get a light up there, that'd be great, then maybe we could look at it.
Yeah,
So is there already power there?
yeah.
Yeah, there's
So-
power.
At
Yeah.
that pole?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's the last pole go on that side.
Then it goes underground. from
Right.
there, all the way down.
Gotcha, I was gonna say, cause I don't really get into stringing power there, if the whole idea is we're gonna start moving underground.
no, he
Yeah.
said he could, everything's there for that pole in particular, cause the pole.
Gotcha.
Well, let's start with that pole and then kinda see what we got.
Yeah, I just said I'd run it past you again and, give him the go-ahead to go ahead and put the pole there.
Makes sense.
Yeah, I think it's a good start. Catalyst grant update.
We have received a letter, or we were asked to write a letter to the Iowa Economic Development Authority on behalf of the mayor and council. declining the grant. Keepers decided due to economic, issues, they're not gonna pursue renovating the upper story at the Times or at the post office building, so. We put that on hold, not gonna pursue it here, so. That won't be happening, so we don't have, we had promised downtown incentive for that if they did indeed get the grant. But since they're not pursuing it, we won't have that money involved in it either, so. Just wanted to let you know that that's not gonna happen.
And then, ordinance enforcement update, any updates, Chad?
No, I haven't heard back from on that house. I did reach out to him, I haven't heard back yet, so.
You did wanna mention the shooting range?
Yeah, I ordered a sign for out there. We're having some issues with some people coming out there, and it's not that we don't wanna have them out there, but some of our stuff's getting shot up. And so I ordered a sign that basically just states that it's for official use only. And it's gonna be a good sized sign right there in the front when you walk in, so try to keep that restricted as much as we can, so we're not. Every time I go out there, there's something new that's either there's stuff on the ground, our target frames are getting shot, or we can't put our backers in, JT can't weld those out and fix them. So it's just, I want to restrict that. And I think liability wise too, it's just. I'd go back to, our request to have that locked at 2:30 when the guys are done, but I don't know if that's something you guys want to entertain, but, we do see a lot of people go out there, and I've seen driving on the dikes, running dogs, just out there doing, it's like.
It's not a recreation.
I
Right,
don't,
I don't know.
what if somebody I've driven down those, I just think liability
back there.
wise, I think that, having that wide open, and,
Yeah.
I don't know,
I don't know, I kinda like it open, because a lot of people go out there just throw the brush and do all that.
Yeah.
And if you don't do that, then I think that gives opportunity for people to clean up your yards and stuff like that. No one's going to,
Could you
I'm
put
not
a
gonna put that in the bag for the city guys to come clean up.
I like it open too, but I think there is liability too, maybe we just need to talk about a little bit, is there, does it shut up at night?
Can you put a chain link fence along the path there?
Yeah, just put something to block people from going to the sewer
So
side.
you can't go to the sewer site driving the bikes.
I've never thought about driving down.
I did once, when we were
I don't know why you
I was
did.
like, hey, I've never been over here, I'm like,
Yeah.
I wonder what's
Yeah.
over here, and I was like, okay,
So
there's
you're-
nothing, so, I did it once.
Yeah,
Yeah, maybe we could put something,
we should probably talk about it, yeah.
I'm not trying to, say people don't need to be doing things out there, but it just liability for the city and, on our end of the range, we don't want that shot up and ruined.
What needs to be done down there for citizens, drive out there and throw their brush and stuff out and leave again.
Yeah.
Right. I wish there was another way that you could enter and then, lock up that gate, but there really isn't.
What is there, three shots to the south? That you could.
man, you could just put a couple metal posts in, and run a log chain across that,
Yeah,
lock it up.
just put, no trespassing.
Yeah.
That's pretty, somebody would have to go out of their way to get out of the vehicle, unhook it, and, to head to the south anyway.
Yeah, I don't know, maybe give it to Eric and,
I did talk to Tim about the shooting range the other day, and just told him there's some stuff out there, and I was gonna talk to you guys. So, they're aware of it. Some of the other stuff kinda came to my mind afterwards, thinking about people on dikes and,
well, I think the shooting range is just designed for law enforcement,
100%.
that's, I guess.
I thought it was brought up that anybody having to do with the city, like if the fire department guys wanted to go out, or if you wanted to go out, or something like that, but.
Well,
I don't really have a problem with that, if it's somebody that's,
You're
attached to
considered
the city.
authorized.
Yeah,
right.
Yeah, it should
That's
be
what I'm curious,
city
if
versus
these are people
Conversation
just,
with Chad if you wanna go use it.
Yeah,
are we assuming these are just general residents that are popping out there?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I often wondered about 4 or 5 o'clock at night, why there's so much shooting going on up there.
But we were out there, what was it, last Wednesday, we shot less lethal rounds, there's 12 gauge beanbag rounds, they were very loud. There was people out, 2 trucks out there. And you know, there's no trespassing sign, so what's the bad thing, you know, it's like, oh, well, I thought this was, you know, open, so they're leaving, and I didn't say anything really, but it kind of,
So what's your sign gonna say, authorized personnel only type of thing?
it'll say official use only.
Okay.
I think that's-
And I kind of left that, I had law enforcement, I thought, well, official, that would include, you know, anybody that, from the city that.
You just put authorized
Kind of-
personnel, or do you like official?
Official use only. I haven't got the sign ordered, I just
Sorry.
haven't,
Oh, I thought
I haven't ordered it yet, I'm still waiting for proof.
No, I think,
Yeah,
I think it's awesome to
Yeah.
do it, and I think if anybody in the city, like you're saying, wants to use it, I think we need to give a chat and ask.
Yeah.
Say, hey, I'm gonna go out there just so you know, is it okay, and do you have anything planned?
Take your own bean can out and shoot that if you want.
Yeah, giving people the benefit of the doubt, they might not know that it's not open to
Yeah,
the public.
yeah, exactly.
So that kind of spells it out for them.
They
If you
have-
sign up, then they'll know.
Right.
So, that's all I have on that.
I didn't really have anything for utility department updates. I mean, I think you guys are all kind of caught up to what's been going on, and there hasn't been any real new issues or anything else come up that I know of. Anyway, so, yeah, we'll just work on our goals and go from there.
I could tell you about, equipment a little bit, we've got, the three dump trucks, the 2 with the plows on them are all up to date. There's a couple of things on, one of them we could do like a leaking cylinder and some other stuff, but as far as meeting, you know, a DOT certification, those 2 are all done, they're ready to go. The yellow one, tie rods came in the wrong size, so, Jason didn't get them right, so the yellow one should be done here shortly too. And it was, not a lot of cost added up to that one at the end to finish that. Before we put tires on the backhoe, we backed up a little bit. It's got a pretty good leak, whether it's into transmission, hydraulic, something's leaking pretty good. So before we put a bunch of tires, $3,000 for tires on it and find out there's something more expensive, Kuna's gonna go down there for inspection, get a quote on actually what is leaking. Let's get all our costs gathered before we spend any money, so we make sure we're spending good money and not spending bad money.
I agree with that.
And then we're working on, maintenance sheets, so all the equipment will have a maintenance sheet and then, inspection forms, so we're working on all that, but we're making good progress. So the guys, Jason's been really on top of things, he's done a good job down there, so.
All right. Does anyone else have any other business? That, need a motion to adjourn
Motion to adjourn.
Second.
and roll call?
Dylan Meyer.
Yes.
Matt Doherty.
Yes.
J.C. Thompson.
Yes.
Matt Peterson.
Yes.
Adam Ryder.